Philippines, good evening. Naimbag nga rabi, masantoy siya sa labi si kayo amin. Maya pa bengi keka, marahay ay na banggi sa Indugabos, maupay nga gabi ha iyo nga tanan dina. Buenas noches, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala barakatuh. Mayong gabi sa Tibok Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, up to Sabah. Ito po si Eric Espina, mauni ang inyong programang Republika. Well, tonight we're going to be talking about one of the more controversial frontline issues in the country today, and this has everything to do with the anti-terrorism bill, which is now pending on the table of Malacanang, to be precise, with President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. There are reports that he may be inclined to sign it, but before that happens and the anti-terrorism bill becomes law, we're going to discuss the ramifications, certain fine points, pros, cons, whatever. So we have invited tonight somebody who is also a broadcaster and a lawyer, Attorney Jurel Patino.
Sir Eric, good evening.
Oh, good evening.
It's a great privilege to be a part of your program. Thank you so much for inviting me here.
Oh, initially, when you heard about the this bill that swiftly passed Senate and then went to the lower house, I'm sure you were able to read some of its salient provisions. Off the cuff, what is be inclined to sign it? But before that happens, and
The passage of the anti-terror bill before the House of the Representatives is because the Senate napasar naman na daan before mga way back February, but the House of Representatives needs to have also a similar bill. So mo tong pagpasara na, as a lawyer, I have to peruse everything, no? Kay we need to, of course, know what are the provisions in there. And it was also controversial. It's because it expanded the coverage of terrorism in the Human Security Act. So I was actually surprised of the definition of terrorism, but I have to reserve it before because we know that the bill is pending the signature of the president.
Yes, yes.
So it is yet to be discussed whether or not that the president will sign that bill.
So you will reserve
Yes, I have to reserve my
whether he will sign it or not.
yes until it becomes a law. Then that's the time. Then we can. There are actually reservations we have right now. So what we can discuss right now is these provisions which are actually controversial, Sir Eric.
I'll ask you this question. Would you want this to become part of the law of the land? Would you wish that, you hoping that President Duterte will affix his signature? Or would you want it to just go away?
For me, I just hope that the President will have to veto some of its provisions that needs to be cleared, because there are provisions, Sir Eric, nga medyo vague ay tanan, especially on the definition of what is really terrorism. So at least there are provisions that needs to be cleared, because that's the worry of the public man sad nga if dili ni klaro unsa gyud ang definition sa terrorism, it might lead to some abuse of our law enforcers.
Would you want the law to be further refined? Is that what you're saying?
Well, the law is already passed by both houses in the
bill,
in
yes.
Congress. Yes, the bill. And I hope only the President can veto some of its provisions.
And then, but in terms of, do you believe that the Philippines needs at this time an anti-terrorism bill or not, or anti-terrorism law? Do you think there's
Yes,
a need?
of course, we need a comprehensive law to combat terrorism. It's because we know for a fact that terrorism is already a decade-long problem of this country. So we need to have that comprehensive law. But right now, that anti-terror bill, there are actually some controversies underlying on that. So we need to fix some of the provisions, and as to the definition, because the definition of terrorism is not really clear for me, no? Because I've read the bill, and there are certain acts that if you commit that act, then it can be considered terrorism. So it must be cleared.
Some lawyer groups call it poorly worded. Would that be a fair statement? That's according to some lawyers. Would you agree with that? It was
Well, it
poorly
would
worded.
undermine I have due respect for our members of the House of Representatives as well as in the Senate, so I would not comment on the poor wording as said by some of the
But
lawyers.
it is vague. That's what you will accept.
Yes, it's vague, actually, because if the law is vague, then the application or the implementation of that would lead to some chaos because it's too vague and it would be subject to some abuse by our law enforcers.
You accepted that we need an anti-terrorism bill or law, no? As the bill is now pending in the palace, how many percent, if we're going to put some percentages, is the law 85%, up and up, or it's the reverse? It's 80%. It is a poor bill, and it's only 20% possible as a good anti-terror bill.
I could not actually preempt the decision of the president on that, but he certified it urgent. That's a public knowledge that he wants really that law on to combat terrorism. So as to how many percent would it become a law, it really depends on the president.
But in terms of qualitative, if you examine it, you are 80% in agreement, 75% in agreement, 50% in agreement. How would you characterize your own?
As to the whole provisions, I would say that there are provisions that we really need to that needs to be approved, but some of its provisions needs to be vetoed by the president. So I'm against of some provisions in the anti-terror bill.
What would be the quantitative portion or fraction or subset of the bill that is being presented? 10% refinement, 15% refinement. How would you characterize it?
Well, maybe mga 20% refinement.
Refinement.
Yes.
And then with that 20% refinement, you would be okay with it already?
Yes, as long as everything will be cleared.
Okay. Assuming the president signs it into law, what would be the steps that should be taken?
Well, the law might be struck down as unconstitutional. We can struck down the law as unconstitutional, no? But we need to file first it before the Supreme Court because there is always a process, legal process on declaring a law as unconstitutional or against the Constitution. So we need to file that before the Supreme Court because it is the power of the Supreme Court. That's what we call as judicial review, Sir Eric.
Do we have to wait for damage to happen before filing perhaps a case in the Supreme Court, or is this an immediate action?
Well, unless a law or a bill becomes a law, then that's the time we can question as to its constitutionality.
Okay.
Now, once it becomes a law, then as a rule, the judicial review has also some rules to be followed before the Supreme Court will take action or will make their power, will do their power of judicial review. So there must be an actual case or controversy. There must be a legal standing on those who filed the petition against that law.
Can we file appropriate petition right away before the Supreme Court without necessarily waiting for direct injury to happen?
That's what our former Associate Justice Carpio said, that official challenge can be done to strike down that law.
You agree with him?
Right after the president will sign it. But I don't know if it will happen because rarely the Supreme Court has never recognized a petition before the Supreme Court without having to satisfy all the elements of judicial review. So, well, it's the Associate Justice who has said, well, I respect his opinion on the matter, but I believe there must be an injury first to happen before
to have legal standing.
Yes, to have that legal standing and also the lis muta of the case.
Okay. So, I'm going to ask you, do you also agree with the former Supreme Court Justice Carpio's statement that the anti-terror bill is even worse than actual martial law? I think you've heard that before.
Yes.
Do you agree with that?
If that law, with its provisions, well, might be.
So you agree it will be worse than martial law?
Yes, might be because
If it's passed, I mean, if the president signs it.
yes, might be because the law enforcers has the scope of, they can red tag everybody, they can label us everybody according to their views and beliefs that we are doing something illegal. So, especially if we commit what is being defined as terrorism under that bill, no? So, mo na lisod if ang ato ng mga law enforcers will believe so nga you are considered or suspected as a terrorist. So, of course, taka na lang unya na silang dakop. So, that's the worry of some organizations as well as individuals.
Who actually tags a particular organization as a terrorist? Is it the so-called anti-terror group? Is it under the government? Is it the regional trial court? Or is it the Court of Appeals?
Well, normally, as a role, normally it is the court of course who
Yes,
will
judiciary, oo.
Yes, it is the judiciary, the function of the judiciary that they need to convict first that he is a terrorist
Terrorist, yes.
before tagging him as a terrorist. But right in that anti-terror bill, the anti-terror council can declare you as a suspected terrorist, and they can authorize law enforcers to arrest you or be subjected to some surveillance.
What will be the function of our courts? The RTC, for example, in this manner, what can they do? Are they involved in the judicial process of tagging a particular organization, not an individual, but a particular organization as a terrorist association? Is the RTC involved in the
No, the
process?
RTC is not involved as to the tagging because the courts are actually once there is already a case filed, then that's the time the court will sit in.
Okay.
So, as to the tagging of suspected terrorists, it is the power of the
Anti-Terror.
Anti-Terror Council.
Okay, now that's why my question is, for example, there is a petition to name this particular organization as a, as part of this clandestine plan for to bring down the government,
Yes.
sow terror among the society. I think they're also given hearing for that, no? They're given so this is at the level of the RTC.
Are you referring to the anti-terror bill?
Yes, yes.
Yes. The hearing of the tagging of the suspected terrorist?
Of the organization.
No, there is no involvement of the courts.
Ang
No.
RTC?
No involvement of the courts because as to the tagging, the Anti-Terror Council will be the one to authorize the arrest of suspected terrorists.
Okay. But can an ordinary individual or can the government file a case, can the DOJ file a case or before the regional trial court to have a particular organization named as a terrorist organization?
Can a particular individual file a case against the Anti-Terror Council?
Can the government or an individual file a petition before the RTC requesting that this particular organization be tagged as a terrorist organization?
No, because that is not the function of the RTC to tag individuals or organization as terrorists.
Okay.
That is the function of the executive branch of our government. So it is the duty of the law enforcers after conducting surveillance to tag that particular individual or organization as terrorist. So it is not the duty of the courts.
Okay. What provisions do you think are very problematic in this case?
Particularly on Section 4 of the Anti-Terror Bill, because the definition of the Anti-Terror Bill in that Section 4 is very vague compared to the Human Security Act of 2007, because terrorism in the Human Security Act of 2007 is very clear.
Very clear.
Yes, as to how can you commit the acts of terrorism.
Okay.
So there are specific laws in there or crimes, like for example, if you commit the crime of piracy or mutiny in the high seas or crimes of kidnapping, murder, if you commit those crimes and your intention or purpose of committing that crime is to sow fear or to create a
Then it's
widespread,
part of terrorism. That's what you
that's
say.
what we call as terrorism under the Human Security Act. And the
RA
purpose of which is
9372.
yes, and the purpose of which is to coerce the government to give in to the unlawful demands of that terrorist or suspected terrorist. So that's the definition in the Human Security Act of 2007. However, in the anti-terror bill, the coverage is, or the definition of terrorism is very vague. It's because if you commit an act which causes death or serious bodily injury, or you endanger the life of a person, and then
We're going to pause for a few reminders. We'll
Yes.
get back on that, and we're talking about the definition of the anti-terror bill and who
Yes.
can be tagged when we return. Okay, nagbabalik pa rin po ating programang Republika. Kausap pa rin natin si Attorney Jurel Patino. Siya po ay isang broadcaster, isa ring abogado. And we're talking about terrorism in its general complexities. So, I'll try to help you with it also. According to my own research, who can be
Yes.
tagged as anti-terror bill? Anyone who engages in acts intended to cause death or
Yes.
serious physical injury on another person.
yes,
And then anyone who engages in acts intended to cause extensive damage to a government or public facility, public place, private property. Anyone who engages in acts intended to damage critical infrastructure. Anyone who develops, possesses, acquires, transports, uses deadly explosive weapons. Anyone who releases dangerous substances, cause fire or floods with the aim to intimidate public government or international organizations.
yes.
This is vague as far as the legal language is concerned.
Yes, it's because as to that provision, Sir Eric, the problem with that is the caveat in there is as long as you sow fear or panic. What if somebody like we have this activist, although it is not included, no?
Yes, yes.
Excluded ang they say that advocacy, dissent, or stoppage of work, or any mass action or similar exercises involving civil and political rights. Now it's not excluded. But what if it will lead to death? Let's say, for example, there are protesters right in there, and the police officers have to infiltrate those protesters, and it leads to death. So could it not be considered as terrorism under that particular bill? So that's the problem. It's because we need to redefine on what really constitutes terrorism. So the law enforcers in there has a very they can every time tag you as a suspected terrorist.
Okay.
Yes, and once you are tagged as a suspected terrorist, then they can be authorized by the ETC. You
To
can be
arrest,
arrested
to
at
be
any
detained.
time without the benefit of any warrant of arrest.
Now, I'll ask this of you, no, attorney, no? Who actually tags an individual as a terrorist? Because this is the most crucial point. Eh?
Yes.
Is it the anti-terror group, or is it a judicial branch?
No, it is not the judicial branch. It's because you need not file a petition or what we call this, a pleading in court to tag that certain individual as a terrorist or an organization as a terrorist or involved in terrorism, no? It is the Anti-Terror Council.
Okay.
Yes, so composed of some cabinet officials.
Yes, yes.
With the help of the law enforcers, of course, with the authorization given by the ETC, of course, they can easily arrest those who are considered as or being suspected as terrorists.
According to Senator Panfilo Lacson, he says upon application by the DOJ, the CA can tag individuals and organizations as terrorists in 72 hours.
Upon application
Yes,
by
upon
the
by the DOJ. The CA, the Court of Appeals, can tag individuals and organizations as terrorists in 72. That's why I was asking you, aside from the Anti-Terror Council, is there another way by which a particular organization can be tagged as a terrorist group?
Yes, if it is being filed
Okay.
in the Court of Appeals.
Yes.
No, now if it is being filed in the Court of Appeals, you are tagged as a terrorist, then that's the time the ETC will also authorize your arrest.
Okay.
So one of the ways, actually in the Human Security Act,
Yes.
right in there is the short-term surveillance, because once within 72 hours
Yes.
upon the application of the petition for tagging that as a terrorist or an individual as a terrorist, they must have to arrest that suspected terrorist. But in the Human Security Act, it requires 60 days
60 days, yes.
surveillance before you can tag or you can arrest that you can arrest that suspected terrorist.
And then if you don't find anything, you have to inform the suspect that you have been trailing him.
Yes, you have to notify immediately.
him, yes.
Otherwise, that that person is under surveillance.
There is a penal sanction also against the law enforcement,
Yes.
for non-observance of that provision. Yes,
Mm.
yes. So, what other provisions do you think are problematic or which could be subject to abuse?
Well, some of its provisions under Section 29, of course, the warrantless arrest and the detention of those who are suspected terrorists for maximum of 24 days.
24
because,
days, yes.
they can be detained for 14 days.
Plus 10.
Then, if necessary, there will be an extension plus 10 days. So, a maximum of 24 days without any liability, without incurring any liability if it is a false suspicion by our law enforcers. So, also that kind of, it violates our Constitution.
Oo.
No, so the Constitution says we cannot really deprive the person of liberty, and then it says there that the detention under Article 125
Okay.
of the revised
RPC.
penal code, yes, of the revised penal code, the maximum of which is 36 hours.
Yes.
And yet in the Human
12
Security
to
Act,
36 hours.
yes, the maximum of which you can detain a person without delivering him to the proper judicial authorities. And in the Human Security Act, it also says there maximum of 3 days.
Okay.
But in that anti-terror bill, the maximum is 24 days.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
you can be arrested, detained for 24 days. You cannot have that right to bail, or only your counsel can visit you. Of course, the right to counsel also always available, no?
Does this also play into the objections because it's unconstitutional, it's infirmed in
Yes.
terms of the Executive Department, Article 7, Section 18?
Yes.
Does that also hit into that provision, that section that, you are only given 3 days? You
Yes,
have to produce the body, in short.
For the rate of for those who
Yes.
are when we are under martial law,
Yes, yes.
no, or when the writ of the habeas corpus is suspended.
Suspended, yes.
Yes, it also goes against that provision of the Constitution, because it's clear that only the maximum of the detention is only 3 days.
Yes, yes.
And yet, that is under circumstances of martial law.
Okay.
And right here, we do not have martial law, but only that bill, it provides for a maximum of 24 days detention, which is, of course, contrary to what our Constitution provides.
Okay. How do you explain to the public that, we've heard both sides. We've also heard Senator Lacson say that the 14 days is the most, modest
Modest.
of the, like Australia. It was copied from Australia where you're only 14 days in order to be able to create a case for the suspect, no? So, and that, the Philippines is one of the weaker countries with a very, very, how would I call it? A toothless anti-terror or Human Security Act law, no? So, how do you counterbalance that statement?
Well, for me, that's the words of Senator Lacson.
Yes, yes.
But precisely, I believe they must have to come up with an approach which is not violative of the
the
Constitution. Yes, we need to we need to counter terrorism in this country. But first, we also have to respect the rights of our people, because the Constitution clearly provides the rights of our people, and yet we have this particular bill right now, which is the President is really inclined to sign.
To sign, yes.
So it would really become a law, but probably it would be
Challenge.
challenged before the Supreme Court. So, but for me, we do not need that kind of bill if it contains that provisions, especially on the definition on the terrorism, which is so vague, as well as on the power to detain for or authority to detain without incurring any criminal liability on the part of those of the law enforcers for 24 days. So I believe we can still combat terrorism in some other ways because we need to maximize our resources
Yes,
in
yes.
terms of our law enforcement because if we have this law and it affects the lives of the people, then it will only lead to chaos.
Would it help the law if it was crafted in terms of more specifics? For example, beheadings,
No.
bombings.
Oh.
Would that help?
Yes.
Would that be considered as a terrorist terrorist act?
Precisely, if it is well defined as to what particular acts will
yes.
constitute terrorism, not just engaging in acts, because the acts in there is very vague. What
Yes.
kind of acts that will endanger the lives of the people, or you can cause death? So, if your intention probably is to really to kidnap somebody,
Yes.
and like what happened, in Mindanao, we have terrorists there. So, what if they kidnap somebody, or if they kidnap somebody and their intention is to demand for the from the government? So that's what we call as terrorism.
That's terrorism.
Yes,
Okay.
because you are trying to commit a crime for,
Yeah.
for the purpose of coercing our government.
Yes, yes.
But if you are just doing some actions right in there, and it caused some death without your intention,
Okay.
and it really happens. So
Like
can
for
you be
example,
considered
so
a
that,
terrorism?
okay.
Yes. For example, as I have given you as an example earlier, there are mass protests.
How about a bar brawl? Somebody there was
Oh,
one,
bar brawl.
A bar brawl.
And it causes death.
It causes death. What is that?
So, and then, according to our law enforcers, he
It's
tried to
terrorism.
create an atmosphere of fear in there.
Yes, yes.
Or trying to create a panic among the populace. So, you are already
Yeah,
a suspected terrorist. So, you can be detained for 24 hours.
Is membership in a should a membership in a terrorist organization be penalized?
Yes, still
Should be, no?
penalized. Yes.
And it should be subject to the judicial process.
Yes, and in
to make
fact,
that determination.
if I'm not mistaken, the penalty is 17 years, maximum at most, if you are a member of that terrorist organization.
How about if it was part of the law that terrorist organizations that are recognized by, for example, the United Nations or other countries
Yes.
may be adopted into this bill? Would that have helped?
Precisely, that would do what really happens if there are some organizations, international organizations will just say to our executive or say to our enforcer or law enforcers that this is a terrorist organization, you have to arrest that or subject that to a surveillance, then that would probably happen.
What other provisions? You talked about Section 4, Section 29. What
Yes.
other provisions do you see is maybe subject to abuse or?
Yes, also we have all these provisions, Section 4, 5, 6,
24, I think.
yeah, 24 or so, 20. What is
29.
very controversial right now is this Section 4 and Section 29.
Yes.
Because it involves detention, because it really deprives people of their liberty, no? So, mauna nga, ang kanang Section 429 must be redefined.
Okay, overhauled.
Yeah, overhauled, or it can be vetoed by the president, then it goes back to the Congress. So they need to redefine that because we could not guarantee that the law enforcers will really not lead to abuses if this becomes a law.
Are there not enough safeguards in the bill, in your own reading, that may still preserve our Bill of Rights in that sense? For example, if under a warrantless arrest, you have this suspect,
Yes.
and you have to right away report this to the closest jurisdictional court. Will that help? And then the other is reporting it to the human rights. Do you feel that's not enough safeguard?
That's not enough safeguards because once you are in there, now what can you do when you are under arrest? Nobody, you are under surveillance, you are already being detained. So, no other safeguards, I think, and it's not enough if we will just report to the human rights
Or to
file a case against that law enforcers when your right is already violated.
At the time.
Yes, at the time. So, we should not let a law or a bill becomes a law which has a pending or which tries to violate the rights of the people.
Okay, kuan pa mo para sa taga-Riot, and then mo balik ta ato gyapong istoryahan kabahin sa anti-terror bill. And then what I'd like to ask here is that when a terrorist or suspected terrorist has been detained, what are his rights in terms of, should there be a lawyer? When he is under custodial investigation, things of this nature when we return. Okay, we're back with us, Republika. Ito pa rin po ang Republika. At, okay, there is this sense that if you are detained, you are arrested, under this law, have your rights to a lawyer, or for that matter, your Miranda rights. What is that? Will that still be part of the entire...
Yes, of course. It is basic that before you will arrest somebody, you must have to inform him of the nature of the charges against him.
Okay.
And also, of course, the right to counsel. So, of course, that right should not be taken away from you.
What's the difference between the so-called warrantless arrest that we used to know vis-a-vis this warrantless arrest under this bill?
Well, warrantless arrest, as provided under our revised rules on criminal procedure, there are only 3 instances when a person can be arrested without the benefit of a warrant. No?
Is there a
Of
difference
course,
with that one and this one?
in that one, of course, only the mere belief that you
Okay.
are a suspected terrorist, then you can be subjected to a warrantless
You're
arrest.
saying that this is the fourth.
Yes, this is
addition to the 3.
Yes, instances
That's what
where
you're saying.
where a law enforcers can arrest somebody
Okay.
without the benefit of the warrant, no? Because mere belief. Not unlike in the Human Security Act, you have to conduct surveillance,
Okay.
maximum of which is 60 days. First 30 days, then subject to 30 days renewal or extension, I mean. So, but here, no, mere belief of a police officer that you are involved in a terroristic activities, then you can be arrested at any time once the ATF will authorize, or I mean the Anti-Terror Council will authorize your arrest.
I'll ask this of you because there are also some fears, no? I'm going to ask your opinion on this. There are some fraternities that are also worried that they might be tagged as an anti-terror group.
Yes.
Would that be a judicial leap? Would that be a legal leap? Or
Yes,
would that fall under the anti-terror bill also?
It depends on what will be the activities they will be involved later on. As they conduct whatever the activities in that group. So if they lead to some death or causes bodily injury, so it might be considered as a terroristic activity. So they can be covered by that bill.
I have some. I went over some of the definition of terms.
Yes.
I want to find out if you have anything against it or
Yes,
this is
okay.
fine. For example, and definition of terms, letter C, foreign terrorist. Any person who travels to a state other than their states of residence or nationality for the purpose of perpetrating, planning, or preparing for or participating in terrorist acts or providing for or receiving of terrorist training. These shall include individuals residing abroad and who come to the Philippines to participate in perpetrating, planning, or preparing for the participating in terrorist acts or provide support for or facilitate terroristic training here or abroad. Is that okay, as far as you're concerned?
As to foreign terrorists.
Yes, foreign terrorist.
Yes.
You're okay with that?
Yes, no problem with that if
Okay.
it is believed to be terrorist.
Okay. How about letter D? What is inciting to commit terroristic acts? Is committed when a person directly or indirectly provokes, goads, instigates, or persuades another individual or organization to commit any of the other crimes defined and penalized under the provision of this act, whether by means of verbal, written, or visual communication.
Yes, that
Is that okay, or is that because
for me,
some
I'm
people are
against of
saying
that because for
it's
me
a-
it might violate our freedom of speech.
of yes,
Yeah, because
or,
we might be considered as inciting to commit terrorism once we use our social media right now. Or if you are a broadcaster, if you are a radio commentator, or even a journalist, or tried to make a column and then you tried to write something to in order to provoke the government, then you might be considered as committing a crime of inciting to commit terrorism.
would this be a diminution of your freedom of expression also?
For me, that could be considered as a diminution because, you know, that's also very vague because what are those kinds of words that we need to be choosy of the words we need to use, especially we have that bill right now, so we need to be choosy so that we could not really kana bang magduda na hinuon ng atong mga law enforcers nga murag kuaning he's trying to commit an act of inciting to commit terrorism.
For example, I'll talk of a particular situation. How about if you possess the flag of the ISIS? Would that be considered support?
Yes, and that definition.
That definition, but in your case, it's okay. Would it be okay, for example, for a citizen to have the ISIS flag in his possession?
For me, if you have that ISIS flag as part of your expression, as part of freedom of speech, then we have to know what is the intention of that individual carrying the flag of an ISIS. We know for a fact that an ISIS is a terrorist organization.
Okay.
So if you're carrying their flag, so of course the belief of the people they will be impressed that you are actually part of that
Should
group.
he be penalized?
Probably, of course,
Because of the possession of
yes,
that,
mere possession of it.
Yes, pwede, no?
Yes, pwede na siya kayo, of course. Terorista good na nga ang ISIS, ang terrorist organization na siya, and then you are carrying their flag. So, you have the sympathy for them.
Okay.
So, and in fact, kung ako'y police officer, makakita sa kuha ng inana, or I'm in the executive department, I would say, you have to conduct or arrest that person kay nagdadaan na siya og ISIS flag. And you, what if ako, dadalang kong flag, napunitan ako dito, akong i-post dito sa kong social media, and I don't know that it's an ISIS flag.
Okay.
Diba? So you can be considered as a terrorist na.
Okay.
Subjected na ka to detention for 14 days, you can be arrested without a warrant. Wa man gud tay chance to actually ang mahitabuan na o mahimo na ng balaod Sir Eric. Mahitabo mura na bitaw sila unay ikay mo prove nga dili ka terorista. When the burden of proof should be passed to the government first, it should be the duty of the government to prove that you are a terrorist, not we proving ourselves not as a terrorist.
Okay. For example, I asked that question because in other countries, possession of an ISIS flag is
considered, of course.
Like in Malaysia, Indonesia.
But here we do not have a law for.
Wala pa.
We do not have
But
a law.
would that be okay with you if we passed a law like that?
Well, it depends
Part of the
on
provision?
In order not to really sympathize with this terrorist organization, of course we can do it so, as long as it must be not contravene the Constitution. Because what we are doing right now is to only, as a lawyer, I should have to uphold the law. If the law is against the Constitution, that could not guarantee the protection of the people, then we better strike it down.
Okay. Because in other countries, like for example in Canada, the possession of a Nazi flag
Yes.
is not also
Is
allowed.
lawful,
In
yes.
Germany, in Austria, it strictly prohibits display or proliferation of insignia, symbols, emblems, uniforms, full or partial, flags, punishable with 4,000 euros.
Yes.
And a fine and 1 month imprisonment if the violation deemed to promote Nazi socialism. Sa France, it is illegal to display Nazi flags, uniforms, insignia in public unless the purpose is historical, film showing,
Or educational.
or filmmaking.
Yes.
Inana ba?
Oh.
So, maybe we can get the best practices from some other countries, no?
Yeah, we can adapt some of their laws in order to actually combat terrorism, or in order for our people to show support to our government against terrorism.
How do you see, for example, we talked about ISIS. How about the flag of Jemaah Islamiyah? How about the Abu Sayyaf group, if you have a
Yes.
flag of that?
Yes.
Or you post in social media supporting them. It is an expression of support.
Yes.
What do you think? Should that be penalized?
For me, it really depends on what is the intention of that individual posting that. Because we can do some things crazy things in our social media without knowing of the legal consequences on that. So what if you just do it not as a way of support of these terrorist groups, but just a mere posting in there without any intention of showing support? So you can be penalized just because of that.
So you would be against that?
Yes, I am against that. We need to provide, siguro, kinanglan atong ipaibaw, labi na sa mga tao nga, mere kuan lang, pag-support, pagbutang lang sa flag, o ipaibaw, or carry lang og flag diya against, or whatever, mga emblems diya nga naa sa nabilong sa terrorist groups, ato na ipaibaw, nga naa na butang lang balaod. Kaysa, akana rin atong basihan ng anti-terror bill. Kay, we are trying to inciting to commit terrorism. Kaya nga nung nag-post naman ka na, imagine for 24 days, di ka ka-prove diya nga innocent ka.
In short, dili maklaro. Kung hindi ay nakay bandira, pwede na kang mapriso.
Correct.
Kinahanglan iklaro gina siya.
Iklaro nga, ang uban, wa man sa takaybaw, unsay mga bandira, unsay man yung mga emblems, ani. O matakaybaw, nagkatag lang na diya sa social media. What if you can post it or repost something in social media nga without having knowledge nga kuan dito sa kining mga terrorist groups?
How about nakay flag sa CPP-NPA? Would that be a terrorist organization?
Yes, as what we considered it as a leftist group, or they are considered New People's Army. So, of course, they have been fighting against the government. They can be considered terrorism.
Okay.
Or terrorist organization.
Here comes the problem now. I think the government is trying to wrestle. Actually, this is a 50-year
Decade-long problem.
decade-long problem. Some people call it 44 years. Actually, 50 years na ni. And one of the most principally renowned terroristic act was in 1971, which was the Plaza Miranda bombing.
Yes.
Which, according to Senator Jovito Salonga, Senator Eva Estrada Calao, in their own respective autobiographies, NTV interviews of Senator Eddie Ilarde, the perpetrators of the 1971 Plaza Miranda bombing meant to decimate the political opposition. Was not actually Ferdinand Marcos, but the mastermind is still abroad. The perpetrators are dead, headed by Danny Cordero, who was also involved in the MB Karagatan incident in the landing of the rifles. Is actually, according to these individuals, is actually the CPP-NPA. So, I think that's what the government is trying to wrestle with. How do you define what is a terrorist organization?
Yes, that's the opinion of some other groups that the government is trying to eliminate, especially not only the terrorist groups,
but the opposition.
As well as the opposition. So they're trying to come up with a maximum approach in order to, boast their government, but, well, they're entitled to their own opinion. But anyhow, if that, as for me, as a lawyer, my concern is only for my legal concerns on the provisions of that bill.
We are on our last 2 minutes, no?
Yes.
I'd like to ask this of you, no? I can see how the government is wrestling with how to define who is a terrorist, what is terrorism. In 1957 or 1950s, there was such a thing as RA 1700.
1700. Oh.
Yes, the anti-subversion law.
Yes.
And I think this was it captured futuristic organizations which may be tagged as
Terrorist. Yes.
because first it makes a finding of fact through legislative inquiry, public hearings.
Yes.
And the conclusion of Congress then, both houses, was, and I'm just reading this, no? RA 1700, an act to outlaw the Communist Party of the Philippines and similar associations and penalizing membership therein.
Okay.
Okay. Now, it talks of this. Whereas, as one of the whereases, the CPP, purportedly a political party, is in fact an organized conspiracy to overthrow the government of the Republic of the Philippines, not only by force and violence, but also by deceit, subversion, and other illegal means for the purpose of establishing in the Philippines a totalitarian regime. Maybe they should come up with perhaps a finding of fact.
Yes.
What
We should have
organizations-
to investigate everything.
Senate and Congress should have actually said which organizations are
Yes.
already
Considered terrorists.
terrorists already,
Yeah, because-
to simplify the whole problem.
Oh, because every one of us can be considered terrorist.
I think that is where the problem is. Why didn't Congress, both houses, define who are the terrorists? For
Yes.
example, if you're a member of the ISIL,
Yeah, they can easily identify them because it's a month-long
It's already-
problem.
it's- it's there.
A decade-long problem. So they must have already identified those organizations involved in these terroristic activities.
Jemaah Islamiyah, for
Yes.
example.
If you're a member of that, then you can be penalized under the terror
Yes,
bill.
yes, and then
at
Abu
least
Sayyaf,
it
if you're a
must be
member of that,
clear.
yes.
Not every individual here, an innocent individual, can be charged with that being or can be suspected terrorist, and they can arrest as easy as they can.
Why didn't they come up with legislative hearings, public hearings all over the Philippines, and these are the list of alleged terrorist organizations, and based on a finding of fact, it is a legislative fact on both houses, penalizing membership of the following organizations.
Yes, and also to add is
Why didn't they do
the
it?
timing of the passage of that bill.
Yes,
The timing, because we are still under
COVID.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Recuperating for this crisis, and yet they need to prioritize that bill. So I don't know what's the intention of the government. I hope that you kaning atong pagduda dili ni mga tinuod.
Oo.
But ang ako lang ana Sir Eric, as long as the president will have of course I have due courtesy with our president, no, we have due respect.
Siguro ang approach lang, no? Why did they at the onset already identified which are the
Oh, kana unta pwede ra gyud nga kanang at least ilan na unta nang gi-identify nga kining mga
if you belong to this, you are
and
penalized.
then you commit these acts.
Oo.
Wa naman mo laing tumong.
Yes.
Your only
And
purpose is to sow fear or create panic among the population. Then that
And then
can be
you
considered.
can get into that by creating precisely in your public hearings, it becomes a legislative finding, it becomes a legislative fact already
Correct.
as part of the law.
Kaya nga turon kita tanan na wa na tay kasiguruan nga di ba ka ta matag as terrorist. So what if you are trying to express grievances against the government? And that's all right.
Ako lang ning ipasaysay kay siguro mo lagi na ang mga tao, there are some people thinking why now under COVID. Ako lang ni ipahibalo kay basig wala kabalo ang mga tao. Ko ano ni ha, this is talking about April 17, 2020. 11 soldiers killed, 14 wounded encounter with ASG, Barangay Danag, Patikul, Sulu. This is already during COVID, ha? May 27, 2020, 6,000 residents, Maguindanao, abandoned homes due to terroristic acts. June 5, recently, 2020, AFP lost 4 soldiers, 17 injured under encounter in Barangay Canagi, Patikul, Sulu. March 21, Iligan City, 44th Infantry Battalion, thwart NPA attack to disrupt government info drive regarding COVID. Barangay Peñaranda, Kabasalan, Zamboanga, Sibugay. March 28, 2020, 30 NPA assault 18 Philippine Army Community Support Program team in Barangay Puray, Rizal, distributing relief goods in the ECQ. Basig, these are some of the basis
The basis of them.
nga muna
Ilang i-prioritize right now.
Usa na sa mga kuan kay masking under COVID,
Mao lagi.
Naglihok lang ni Harpo ng kunta.
Na certified as urgent pa gyud.
muna siguro siya. That could be.
Well, atong gi-recognize nga naa man gyud ng mga terorista. At least not at the expense of the people nga
pamaagi lang.
nga lisod na ma-violate na ng atong basic rights and fundamental rights of the people because of that. Ang atong tumong, the purpose is to counter terrorism, but we're trying to.
Final question.
Yes.
Juriel, no? If the president vetoes certain provisions para lang for the purposes of information sa publiko, will it render nugatory the entire document or only those provisions that were vetoed?
Yes, only those provisions
That
that
were
were
vetoed.
vetoed. Yes,
Okay.
but if the most important provision was being vetoed, it defeats the very law,
Okay.
right, or the very bill. So, of course, if the president vetoes the definition of Section 4,
Oo.
so there's no more definition of terrorism under that anti-terror bill.
Igo na tanan.
Igo na tanan.
So, the entire bill is
Yes, it will render nugatory. So, what happens then it will go back to Congress. Either way, they can still pass it by or they can
Override
override the
one.
veto of the
Override
president
veto,
by 2/3 of their vote. So, of course, if they will do so, then it will still become a law.
or magsugod na po sila.
Pero kinsa man ang mukuan karon sa atong presidente.
Mo na
So,
karon.
maabot ka na sila 2/3, di ba? So, I believe the president will have to we will just give the president his decision on the matter.
Oh, sige. So, well, ayan po ang kabuuan ng ating programa sa Republika. Pasalamatan po natin si Attorney Juril Patino. Nakiprograma, di ba?
Yes, na ako sa Brigada News FM, alas 6 sa buntag hangtod sa alas 9:30 sa buntag, no, sa atong programa sa radyo, ang Banat ug Tira Brigada, Monday to Friday.
Thank you very much. At dyan po nagwabakas ang ating programa. Daghang salamat sa tanang pirming magtanaw ni atong programa sa Republika. Ito po si Eric Espina, palagi po nagsasabi, magmasid, makialam, higit sa lahat ay manindigan dahil wala pong magmamahal sa Pilipino kung hindi ang Pilipino. Daghang salamat, maayong gabi kaninyong tanan.